Hello. Hopefully the microphone is not blocked because I'm kind of perching this on an angle on a box with some things holding it, and it might be. I don't think it is. Anyway, hi. Yesterday, Saturday, I bought 4 CDs, which I haven't been doing as much recently as I've said in the last few videos. But if I get the chance and I'm in the area of some shops and I have some time, then I will usually try to call in. It's just that recently I haven't had much time, but yesterday I went to a few places, not many, but I found some things. Um, you can see right there, the first one, 50 cents from the second-hand charity shop, Salvation Army shop. OK Go, here it goes again. OK Go were a band that found middling fame. Well, I wouldn't say middling fame, found some fame in using YouTube as a tool to spread their music, and by using kind of gimmicky videos. And as it says there, the treadmill video from in the I think this came out in 2006. I looked yesterday. On the back it says somewhere 2006. Yes, 2006. They I think YouTube started in 2005. Was it? Or was it four? But 2006 is pretty early on YouTube, and these guys were kind of part of that very first generation of viral videos on YouTube, on the internet in general, and so they kind of did, yeah, like I said, gimmicky videos, and then as a way to kind of spread their music, and I guess it worked because here I am at 18 years later, and I'm buying one of these CDs secondhand, and I'm talking about them. I was actually kind of thinking about it last night. Like they kind of became known as the YouTube video band because I haven't actually seen. I actually maybe I have. I think they did another video using 0G. Like they were in one of those 0G, the NASA training planes that can simulate zero gravity environments. But the only video I've really actually watched is this one, and I actually quite used to quite like this song, and I downloaded it. I can't remember if I downloaded it illegally off, like one of the old file sharing things, or I bought it on Apple Music back in the day. Back in the day. Regardless, I did own it on an iPod, I remember. And I think it's quite a catchy song, Here It Goes Again. And as I was saying, last night I was kind of thinking, well, I wonder how they feel about being kind of known as the YouTube video band. But then I was also thinking that the amount of bands that find any kind of fame, even very fleeting minor fame, is so infinitesimally small. Sometimes I think we forget how rare and difficult it is to break through in the music industry. Nowadays more than ever, maybe. And therefore, getting any kind of success is such an amazingly lucky thing that you take what you can get. Like I think they have tens and tens of millions of views, maybe even hundreds of millions of views at this point on their videos. This particular CD is just kind of like a single. It has it doesn't say on the back. It says somewhere though. Oh, here. He's got 3 tracks. The Chris Lloyd Alge edit, the Chris Lloyd Alge full, and the Dave Sardi album version. So there's 3 versions. Chris Lloyd Alge, I've talked about him before, haven't I? He's kind of a famous producer, mixer, and he's got a brother, I think, Tom. Must be in the family, surely. Lord Alge, or Lord Alge, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Is not a common name, but it looks like these guys signed with Capitol. So again, using the video gimmick, they managed to get a major label deal, at least for some of their releases. YouTube, VH1, MTV, MySpace. Remember MySpace? Flash in the pan, wasn't it? Oh, there's no actual liner notes, it's just a single leaf. But it kind of like apart from I like the song, so that's the main reason I bought it. But it was kind of like a relic of a time not that long ago, but it is past. That using YouTube and having kind of a wacky video, I don't think would really work as getting your music out now, because YouTube is just so massively jam packed with everything that if you compare it to 2006, I imagine it's much harder to go viral now. And also that the thing like that video when you're watching now with the treadmills, as long as it's kind of like funny in a kind of, like I said, a wacky way, but it doesn't seem as, I don't know, as original or as anything now. It's just kind of like you kind of see things like that. There's so much, like I said, so much stuff on YouTube now, or not just on YouTube, on the internet in general out there, that you probably have to go a few levels above this to kind of stick out from the crowd. But yeah, anyway, like I said, I never actually seen this before. Don't even know that they had actual CDs out, this band. Something different, and only 50 cents. That code there, the price code, means it's originally was secondhand, at Real Groovy Records, which is a secondhand music shop I've talked about a gajillion times on this channel. So that means this must be at least third hand, because it's been through the second-hand system at Real Groovy, and now it's in the second-hand system at a charity shop, which means it's third hand and maybe more hand. The second thing I got was a still sealed copy for 50 cents. Now, sometimes you do come across these. I imagine they are kind of, I don't know, promo copies or bulk things that stores got rid of back in that kind of period about 10, 15 years ago now. A lot of stores, like for example, Borders Bookstore, the American chain, had a few stores here in Auckland, and they all went bankrupt. Like the New Zealand branch didn't survive, and there are many reasons for that. But they had especially the one in the central city, had a really good music section. Very overpriced, but really some really kind of like rare things you couldn't find anywhere else. And this is back in the age when people were still buying CDs. Anyway, about 2010, no, it was 2010. In the year between 2010 and 2011, I know this because I bought a lot of CDs, they decided they were not going to sell music anymore. And so they got rid of all the CDs, and step by step, they slashed the prices. It started off kind of like every CD was $10, and then they went down to $5, and then by the end it was like $1 each. And I remember I got like a lot of really good CDs for like $1 each, new. And so I imagine these kinds of things, people bought, kind of just grabbed handfuls of CDs just to buy for $1, and then they realized that Borders was getting rid of CDs for a reason, because no one was buying them, and the person who bought this also couldn't sell it, so it's ended up in a charity shop however many years later. When did this come out? 2005. So yeah, that would make sense. Anyway, I didn't even say who it is. It is Better Than Ezra. And Better Than Ezra is a band that I've heard their name mentioned a lot, and I know a few of their songs, such as that song, let me just check. I think it goes, One More Murder in This Town. I'm saying this as I'm looking on my phone on the Spotify thing to see if it is the same band. I always really liked that song. That came out in like 1990. Yes, it is Better Than Ezra. Oops, better not play it because I'll get copyright struck. Some of their other big songs: Good, Desperately Wanting, Extraordinary. Let's play that one. Oh, that one. I know that one. Oh, that one. That's from the 90s. That's kind of, what year did that album come out? That came out in 95. Yes, that kind of like, I saw at Collective Soul a few weeks ago. that kind of reminds me of that era, the Collective Soul, kind of post grunge-ish era where the rock was kind of, I don't know, happier sounding since the early 90s. But anyway, I have no idea what this album's going to sound like, but it's 50 cents and it was sealed. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try. However, that little sticker on the front didn't actually fill me with much hope or optimism. 3.5 out of 4. It's a strange star system out of 4. Reaches for arena-sized rafters with U2's anthemic zeal. Well, I've said before what I think about U2's 2000s output. Not a fan at all. And so, yeah. Hopefully that's just advertising dross and it's not actually accurate. But anyway, I'll have a listen to that eventually and see what it's like. 50 cents. Can't beat that. Then those are the two for the charity shop. Then I went to another shop, which I've talked about before. And I found two things there. First one here. Now, just as I'm going to look at this, I'm going to see which one I showed one. Oh, okay. So this is Smells Like Children. And that, as far as I'm aware, was kind of like an album, not an album, kind of like, not a compilation. Because if you look at it, there's a lot of remixes on it. Because there's 15 tracks, but you see, we got 1, 2, 3 are just songs. And then you get to 4 remix, 5 track, 6, which is Sweet Dreams, which is the first song I ever heard from them, which is a cover. 7 remix, 8 song, 9. I Put a Spell on You, which I guess is the Screaming Jay Hawkins cover. You know, you can see some other remixes on there. Track 12, track 13, and then track 15, Rock and Roll Inward, which is also a cover, a Charles Manson cover, I believe. So it's not an actual album. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say a compilation, but it's like kind of like Nirvana and Sister Side, where it was kind of like getting some of their old songs and bits and pieces and B-sides together, I think. But let me just check, because I might be wrong. Smells Like Children by Marilyn Manson. What is it? Oh, they say album. EP. Okay, EP. Maybe I could have said that. It just seems like there's a lot of tracks from EP. 15's like a full album. But says it was an EP by Marilyn Manson, released on Nothing, produced by Trent Reznor. The EP was initially proposed to strictly be a remix single for Dope Hat, but various contributions by engineer and Skinny Puppy producer Dave Ogilvy, Charlie Clouser, resulted in an eclectic, unusual combination of material. All the ideas and tracks for the EP were created and composed throughout the touring cycle for Portrait of an American Family. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I picked this up. You can see the condition isn't great. It's got a big whopping crack across the case. But the disc itself is fine, because I looked at that. But it was $3, which I think is not bad. It's a bit close to the camera, isn't it? I looked at this last night. It's just a single leaf. There's actually a booklet. So like I said, produced by Trent Reznor and Marilyn Manson, engineered by Sean Bevan. His name comes up a lot, doesn't it, when we're talking about the 9 Inch Nails Trent Reznor universe. Who else we got here? Special Oz tour by Chris Vrenna. Chris Vrenna was the drummer for 9 Inch Nails during this era, kind of the early 90s through Downward Spiral. Remixed by Charlie Clouser. Charlie Clouser also played keyboards in 9 Inch Nails from about 95 onwards up to the Fragile tour. I think he left at the end of the Fragile tour. And we see that track 13 performed by Tony F. Wiggins. If you have read Marilyn Manson's autobiography, The Long Road Out of Hell, he talks about Tony Wiggins in that book. He was a driver. Was he a tour manager? He was on tour with him. Maybe he was I think he was just a bus driver, not a tour manager. And he kind of joined in some of their depraved activities on the tour. And so, he talks about Tony Wiggins quite extensively in that book. So, I said Sweet Dreams was the first Marilyn Manson song I ever heard. And I didn't actually like it. I didn't actually like him or his music for a long time. And I'm still not the hugest fan, but I've come to appreciate it more with time, maybe. And the last one, this is something quite unusual. And I was on two minds whether to buy this. 2 minds for a double disc. This is one of those old style double discs, the fat cases. And what this is 2 originals. You can see double nice price, Billy Joel, Glass Houses, and Songs in the Attic. Now, Songs in the Attic, when I saw that, I was like, what Songs in the Attic? I'd never heard of Songs in the Attic, because it's actually not a studio album. It's a live, it's not just a live concert, it's like songs from the early part of his career played live across a number of years and collated on that album. Now, sorry, I was burped. Live albums were a much bigger thing back in the 70s and 80s. There are, I guess, there's quite a few famous live albums, like, the Who live at Leeds. And what's that Rolling Stones live album? Does it Get Your Ya-Ya's out? I think that's a live one. And then, of course, Kiss Alive was kind of the album that I wouldn't say broke them, but it was kind of the ones that pushed them to the next level of stardom and popularity. And there are probably lots of other live albums that I'm not thinking about, but that era, seeing the live album was more important and more common. Regardless, I don't have glass houses, so that's the main reason. But also, I bought this because I think it's quite unusual. I've never seen anything like this before. A double nice price double album. $6. So a little bit more expensive than I paid, but it seems I talk about Billy Joel quite a lot on this, because I've done it. I think I've done like 2 or 3 videos about Billy Joel albums I have. Billy Joel is one of the artists where I am actively trying. When I say actively, actively is not the right word. I'm trying to build their whole discography from first to last, and I'm pretty far along in doing that. But there are some holes I have, and Glass Houses is one of them. And so if I come across one of their albums and it's not too expensive, I'm going to probably pick it up. To be honest, if this was Glass Houses by itself as a single disc and it was $6, I'm not sure if I'd bought it or would have bought it. But it was just kind of the novelty of this double album, putting these 2 things together. Now, I'm not sure when this exactly was issued, because these kind of fat double discs kind of stopped being used in the early mid-90s at the latest. And just from the kind of look, the typeset, the font, it looks quite 80s. I'm sure I could look it up and see online on Discogs or something when it was issued, but I haven't done so. So we open it up, and it was doing the same thing yesterday when I opened it up. The disc, Glass Houses, and then we've got the liner notes, which are pretty sparse. The old one-pager. So if you don't know the album, what are the big songs? You May Be Right, Don't Ask Me Why, Still Rock and Roll to Me. Close to the Borderline, would you say that's a big song? Maybe not, but those first 3 certainly. And there he is, Billy Joel. And then the liner notes for was it Songs in the Attic, whatever it's called. Yeah, Songs in the Attic is much more extensive. Here's the disc. Now what's that? That's the Romulus and Remus, the the myth of the founding of Rome, with the two children suckled by a she-wolf and went on to found the city. This is the booklet. And so he introduces it, or I think it's him. I think it's Billy Joel. This is not the definitive live album, which would represent the shows we meaning, like you said, is Billy Joel, we have been performing in recent years. It is a presentation of older material in a concert setting, which I've always referred to as Songs in the Attic, from 71 to 76, up to the release of The Stranger. So that's the kind of 4 albums had been released during this time. Obviously, there is gaps between the record and the live shows. And then over here, in 1980, after years of touring with my own band, we decided to record our live performances. We take 50... Okay, was he saying... Oh, God. Was he saying there... Maybe I got it wrong. He's saying there that it was in 1980 they started recording these, but it was from songs of that older period. I'm not going to read all that to you right now because that would be kind of boring. He's talking about the different songs here. Captain Jack. Look in there. Don't see him with long hair in a kind of moustache beard often, do you? And then you go through the pages. Got him in his younger days. Lyrics, which is kind of unusual to have in a live album, isn't it? Some kind of very old photos. So yeah, certainly something different. And seeing as I'm trying to, like I said, why is it so, sorry, out of focus? It's completely out of, there we go. Trying to build that Billy Joel discography from beginning to end. That is something that a little bit different that maybe I wouldn't have been able to find otherwise. So yeah. So that's it. Nothing too earth-shatteringly interesting, but yeah. This weekend, it's a long weekend, a 3-day weekend, because tomorrow's a public holiday where we celebrate the King's birthday. God save the King. Not really, but New Zealand is still part of the, I guess, what we call the British Commonwealth. Used to be called the British Empire. And so we celebrate the birth of the reigning monarch of the time. For most of my life, 99% of my life, it was the Queen's birthday for old Elizabeth. But now it's Charles in charge, and so it's the King's birthday. Although he's not too well at the moment, is he? He's got a he's undergoing treatment for cancer. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm certain that was in the news. As is his daughter-in-law, Kate or Catherine, and all that drama going on around that. But yeah, 3-day weekend, so that's nice to have a bit of a rest. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Hopefully that was somewhat interesting. Probably wasn't, but anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. See you later.